When you align with the Tao, you stop swimming upstream and let life carry you effortlessly. True power comes not from forcing, but from flowing. Picture this: a river wide and flowing, with crystal clear water reflecting the sky above. Some people jump into this river and swim with the current, feeling its rhythm, moving effortlessly. Others, they thrash, struggle, fight the flow. They're determined to go against the current, as if their effort will somehow rewrite the rules of the river. Now take a breath and ask yourself, which one are you? Because life itself is that river. And the Tao, the way of harmony, the wisdom of the universe, is the current. It doesn't push, it doesn't pull, it just flows. It's always flowing. And here's the thing: you're already in the river. You've always been in it. The question isn't whether the current is there, it's whether you're resisting it or allowing it to carry you. Let me share a truth that might just change everything for you. Effort is overrated. Yes, effort. Struggling, striving, forcing your way through, these are the things we're taught will make us successful, happy, fulfilled. But have you ever noticed that the harder you try to control things, the more resistance you meet? It's like gripping a handful of water. The tighter you squeeze, the less you hold. That's because life isn't meant to be controlled. It's meant to be experienced. Think about that for a moment. Life at its core is a flow of events, opportunities, relationships, and moments. When you force things, you're essentially saying to life, I don't trust your flow. I think I know better. But here's the irony: life always knows better. The Tao is always wiser than your plans. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but if I stop pushing, won't I just drift aimlessly? Won't I lose control? And here's where the magic of the Tao reveals itself. Letting go isn't about giving up, it's about tuning in. It's about aligning yourself so deeply with the flow of life that you no longer need to force anything. You become like a sailboat on the ocean, not fighting the wind, but harnessing it. You still move forward, you still reach your destination, but you do it with ease, with grace. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a bird. It doesn't fight the air currents, it glides on them. It trusts the wind to carry it, adjusting its wings only slightly to stay on course. That bird isn't lazy. It isn't aimless, it's aligned. And that's the kind of power we're talking about when we speak of living in harmony with the Tao. True power is effortless. It's not about muscle, it's about mastery. It's about knowing when to act, and perhaps more importantly, when not to act. Here's an example from nature that I love: water. Water is the softest, most yielding substance in the world, and yet it has the power to carve canyons, to wear down mountains, to shape the earth itself. How? Not by force, but by persistence, by flowing. Water doesn't argue with obstacles, it simply moves around them. It doesn't resist, it adapts. And in doing so, it accomplishes everything without ever appearing to try. This is the essence of the Tao. So let's bring it back to you. Where in your life are you forcing things? Where are you trying to swim upstream? Maybe it's in a relationship that feels heavy with unmet expectations. Maybe it's in a job that drains you because you're constantly trying to prove your worth. Maybe it's in your own mind where you're battling thoughts of doubt, fear, or perfectionism. Now, imagine for a moment that you stopped fighting. Imagine that you allowed yourself to flow with what is instead of struggling against what isn't. How would that feel? Here's a little exercise for you. Close your eyes if you can and visualize yourself standing in a river. Feel the current against your skin. It's not harsh, not overwhelming, it's steady, inviting. Now, imagine yourself letting go of the need to fight it. Picture yourself lifting your feet, lying back, and letting the current carry you. Can you feel the relief, the freedom? That's the power of alignment. Now, let me be clear, this doesn't mean you stop taking action. Flowing with the Tao doesn't mean you become passive or indifferent. It means you take action from a place of clarity and alignment, not from fear or desperation. It means you trust the timing of life. When opportunities arise, you seize them. When challenges come, you navigate them with grace. And when nothing seems to be happening, you rest, knowing that the river is always moving, always taking you where you need to go. Here's a powerful truth: to hold on to life is not happening to you, it's happening for you. The river isn't dragging you, it's guiding you. And when you trust that guidance, you unlock a kind of freedom that most people only dream of. You stop chasing and instead you start receiving. You stop controlling and instead you start creating. So let go of the struggle. Let go of the need to swim upstream. Trust the current. Trust the Tao. And watch as life begins to carry you effortlessly toward everything you've ever dreamed of and beyond. Because when you stop forcing, when you start flowing, you don't just live life, you become it. Your thoughts are the architects of your reality. Design wisely. Think about that for a moment. Right now, this very second, the life you're living isn't just happening to you, it's being created by you. By the thoughts you think, the beliefs you hold, the stories you tell yourself about who you are and what's possible for you. Every single experience you've ever had, every joy, every challenge, every triumph began as a thought. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why two people standing in the same situation can experience it completely differently? One sees an obstacle and feels defeated. The other sees the same obstacle and feels inspired to grow. The difference? It's not the situation, it's the thoughts. The lens through which they view the world. Here's the secret: change a single thought, and you can transform your entire world. Yes, just one thought. Because thoughts aren't just passive whispers in your mind, they're powerful creative forces. They shape your feelings, they guide your actions, and ultimately they build the reality you live in. Let's do a quick exercise. Think of a problem you're facing right now. Maybe it's something big, or maybe it's something small. Got it. Now ask yourself, what thought have you been holding about this problem? Maybe it's something like, I can't handle this, or this always happens to me. Notice how that thought makes you feel. Heavy, right? Now here's the radical part. What if you could replace that thought with something else? Something like, I'm capable of figuring this out, or this is a chance for me to grow. Do you feel that shift? That lightness? That's the power of a single thought to change everything. But here's where most people get stuck. They think, I've been thinking this way for years, how can I possibly change now? And to that, I say, you're not your thoughts. You're the observer of your thoughts. And the moment you realize that, you're free to choose differently. Let me tell you a little story. There was a man who lived in a small village. Every day he'd sit by the river and complain about how his life wasn't what he wanted it to be. He'd say things like, I'm too old to change, or this is just how life is for people like me. One day, a wise traveler passed by and said, do you know what's holding you back? It's not your circumstances, it's your thoughts about them. The man was startled. He'd always believed his life was shaped by forces outside of him, but now he began to wonder, could it really be his thoughts? He started small. Each morning, instead of saying, I'm too old to change, he'd say, today is a new opportunity. Within weeks, his energy shifted. He began to notice opportunities he'd never seen before. And little by little, his life transformed. You see, the thoughts you entertain are like seeds. Plant seeds of fear, doubt, and limitation, and you'll grow a garden full of weeds. But plant seeds of possibility, gratitude, and love, and watch how your life blossoms. Here's a truth that might surprise you. Most of your thoughts aren't even yours. They've been handed to you by your upbringing, by society, by experiences you've had. How many times have you told yourself, I'm not good enough, or I don't have what it takes? Were those thoughts born from your true self, or were they planted there by someone else's expectations, someone else's fears? Tonight, I want to invite you to take control, to become the deliberate architect of your reality. Imagine yourself as a builder standing before an empty plot of land. That land is your life and the materials you use to build it. Those are your thoughts. What kind of life do you want to build? What materials are you going to choose? Start small. Begin with one thought, one belief. Maybe it's something like, I'm worthy of happiness, or I have everything I need within me to succeed. Repeat it to yourself over and over until it becomes the foundation of your inner world. And watch as that foundation shapes the world around you. Here's another way to look at it. Imagine your mind is a radio, constantly broadcasting a signal. That signal is your thoughts, and it's sending out a frequency into the universe. Whatever frequency you're on, whether it's fear, gratitude, lack, or abundance, that's what you'll attract back to you. So what's your signal right now, and what would happen if you tuned it to a higher frequency? I know it sounds almost too simple to be true, but trust me, simplicity is where the power lies. Complexity is the enemy of clarity, and clarity is the birthplace of transformation. So don't overthink it. Just start. Let's take a deep breath together right now. Inhale and exhale. Feel that? That's you stepping into the present moment. That's you stepping into your power. In this moment, you're not bound by your past. You're not defined by the mistakes you've made or the labels you've worn. In this moment, you're free to choose, free to create, free to think a new thought. Because here's the ultimate truth: your reality isn't fixed. It's as fluid, as malleable as your thoughts. And when you change your thoughts, you change the world. Less striving, more arriving. Let that sink in for a moment. The Tao teaches us this profound truth: in stillness, we find our greatest strength and clarity. But let's be honest, how many of us have been taught the exact opposite? We've been told to hustle, grind, strive, keep pushing, keep doing. The world has convinced us that if we're not constantly moving, we're somehow falling behind. But here's the question I want you to sit with. Are you really moving forward? Or are you just spinning in circles, mistaking busyness for progress? Think about this. A lake, when agitated, is murky. You can't see the bottom. You can't even see your own reflection. But when that lake is still, everything becomes clear. The surface mirrors the sky. The depths reveal their treasures. That lake, that's you. Your mind, your soul. When you're in a constant state of striving, of running after the next thing, your waters are turbulent. But when you allow stillness, when you stop fighting the current, clarity emerges. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who wanted peace. He spent years meditating, reading, searching for answers, but nothing seemed to work. One day, frustrated, he went to a wise teacher and said, "I've done everything, and I still feel restless. What am I missing?" The teacher smiled and handed him a jar of muddy water. "Shake it," he said. The man did. "Now wait," said the teacher. As the man stood there, the mud began to settle and the water cleared. "Your mind is like this jar," the teacher said. When you stop shaking it, clarity comes. And isn't that the truth? The Tao whispers to us, be still, be present. Let life reveal itself, but how often do we ignore that voice? How often do we think that if we just do more, we'll finally feel at peace? Here's the paradox: the more you strive, the further you drift from what you're seeking. Peace isn't something you chase, it's something you allow. Let me ask you this: when was the last time you simply sat with yourself? No distractions, no agenda, just you in the quiet. For many, the thought of stillness feels almost unnatural. But here's the secret: the Tao wants you to know in that stillness lies your power, your strength, your truth. Now, I know what you might be thinking: if I stop striving, won't I fall behind? Won't I lose everything I've worked for? But let me challenge that belief. Consider the archer. When they want to hit their target, they don't pull the bowstring back with frantic, jerking motions. They pull it back with calm focus, with intention. It's in the moment of stillness, right before the release, that the arrow finds its power. Stillness is not inaction. It's alignment. It's pausing long enough to hear the whispers of the universe, to feel the pull of your own intuition. When you're still, you become like a magnet, drawing to you the very things you've been chasing. Have you ever noticed that some of your best ideas come when you're in the shower or taking a walk or simply daydreaming? That's not a coincidence. That's the Tao showing you the power of less striving. Let's do a quick exercise. Close your eyes if you can and take a deep breath. Inhale slowly, hold it for a moment, and exhale just as slowly. Do it again. And this time, as you breathe out, imagine all your striving, all your pushing, all your pushing, all your pushing, all your mental noise dissolving like mist. Feel the stillness settle in. That feeling. That's your natural state. That's you aligned with the Tao. The world is loud, constantly shouting at us to move faster, work harder, be more. But the Tao speaks in a whisper, and to hear it, we must quiet ourselves. Less striving, more arriving. What does that mean for you right now? Maybe it's letting go of the need to control every outcome. Maybe it's trusting that the next step will reveal itself when the time is right. Maybe it's simply allowing yourself to rest without guilt. Here's a powerful truth: you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need a roadmap for the next 10 years. The Tao doesn't demand certainty, it invites trust. Trust in the flow of life, trust in your own inner wisdom. When you stop striving, when you let go of the need to force things, you'll find that life has a way of unfolding perfectly effortlessly. So tonight, as you listen to these words, I invite you to let go. Let go of the belief that your worth is tied to how much you do, how hard you push, how fast you go. Instead, embrace the wisdom of the Tao. Embrace stillness. Because in that stillness, you'll discover the strength, the clarity, and the freedom you've been searching for all along. And as you do, you'll realize that the less you strive, the more you truly arrive. What you resist persists, what you embrace transforms. Let's sit with that for a moment. Resistance, think about how much of your life is spent fighting. Fighting against change, fighting against discomfort, fighting against the way things are. And yet, have you ever noticed that the more you resist something, the stronger it becomes? The very act of pushing it away seems to give it power. It's as if your resistance is like feeding a flame. It grows, it spreads, it consumes. Now, here's the wisdom of the Tao: instead of resisting, embrace. Instead of fighting, flow. Living the wisdom of the Tao is like learning to dance with life instead of standing rigid against its rhythm. Because life isn't something you can control, no matter how hard you try. It's not a problem to solve, it's a dance to join. And when you step into that dance, when you embrace instead of resist, something magical happens: transformation. Think about it. When you resist an emotion, let's say fear, you push it down, ignore it, deny it. But does it go away? No, it festers. It lingers in the background, growing stronger, showing up in unexpected ways. But when you turn toward that fear, when you acknowledge it, embrace it, something shifts. That fear begins to lose its grip. It transforms, you transform. Here's a story to bring this to life. Imagine you're holding a beach ball underwater. You're pressing it down, using all your strength to keep it submerged. That beach ball is whatever you're resisting: anger, sadness, frustration, uncertainty. The harder you push, the more tension builds. And eventually, no matter how strong you are, that ball bursts out of the water with even more force than it had before. That's resistance. But now imagine, instead of fighting to keep the ball underwater, you just let it float. You let it be. Suddenly there's no struggle, no tension, just peace. This is the power of embracing what is. When you stop trying to control everything, when you stop resisting the natural flow of life, you free yourself. You open up space for life to move through you, for transformation to happen. Let's take another example: relationships. How often do we resist what's happening in our relationships? We want someone to change, to behave differently, to meet our expectations. And the more we try to change them, the more resistance we create. Arguments escalate, tension builds. But what if, instead of resisting, you embrace the other person exactly as they are? What if you approach them with acceptance and compassion, letting go of the need to control? That's where transformation happens, not just in the relationship, but within you. The same is true for situations in life. Let's say you lose a job and your first reaction is resistance. This shouldn't have happened. This isn't fair. This isn't fair. This is terrible. But what if, instead of resisting, you embrace the situation? What if you trusted that this moment, as challenging as it seems, is part of the flow of life, part of the Tao? When you embrace, you begin to see possibilities you couldn't see before. Maybe losing that job is the push you needed to finally pursue your passion. Maybe it's the opening to something greater than you could have imagined. Here's a powerful truth: the Tao doesn't make mistakes. The universe doesn't work against you, it works for you. Even when it doesn't feel like it. Especially when it doesn't feel like it. When you resist life's challenges, you miss their wisdom. But when you embrace them, you allow them to transform you. Think about nature. A tree doesn't resist the wind. It bends, it sways, it moves with the flow of the air. And in doing so, it survives the storm. Now imagine if that tree tried to stand rigid, refusing to move with the wind. It would break. It's the same with us. Flexibility is strength. Surrender is power. Embracing life doesn't mean giving up, it means showing up fully for whatever is happening, without judgment, without resistance. Let's try something right now. Think about something in your life that you've been resisting. Maybe it's a situation, a person, or even a part of yourself. Now, instead of pushing it away, take a deep breath and invite it in. Say to yourself, I see you, I accept you. Notice how that feels. Notice the shift in energy. That's the beginning of transformation. When you embrace, you open yourself to the flow of the Tao. You align with life instead of fighting against it. And in that alignment, you discover a power far greater than anything force could ever achieve. You discover the power of trust, of surrender, of flow. And that power, it's limitless. It's life itself, moving through you, transforming you, guiding you toward the highest version of yourself. So stop resisting. Start embracing. Dance with life and watch how it changes everything. The Tao is not something you find, it's something you are. Let that sink in for a moment. We spend so much of our lives searching, don't we? Searching for meaning, for purpose, for some hidden truth that we think exists out there in the world. But here's the paradox: the thing you're searching for has been within you all along. The Tao, the essence of life, the source of all creation, isn't a destination. It's not something you stumble upon after years of wandering. It's who you are. It's the stillness beneath the noise, the silence beneath the chatter, the essence beneath the identity. Take a breath right now, a deep, intentional breath. Feel it. That quiet moment, that space between your thoughts, that's the Tao. But we rarely notice it, do we? We're so caught up in the busyness of life, in the doing, the achieving, the striving. It's like we're standing in front of a vast ocean but are too busy splashing around to feel the calmness of the water. Think about this: how much of your day is spent in noise? Not just the noise around you, traffic, notifications, conversations, but the noise within you, the endless loop of thoughts, worries, plans, and judgments. It's like having a radio that never stops playing and the volume is stuck on high. And here's the kicker: most of that noise is self-created. It's the stories we tell ourselves, the fears we cling to, the identities we build. But none of that is who you truly are. Let me share a truth with you, a truth that can transform the way you experience life. You are not your thoughts. You are the stillness beneath them. The Tao isn't found in your mind, it's found in the quiet spaces between your thoughts. That's why so many of the great spiritual teachings emphasize stillness, meditation, being present. Because in stillness, you reconnect with your essence. You remember that you are already whole, already complete, already one with the flow of life. Now let's try something. Close your eyes for a moment if you can. Take another deep breath and imagine letting go of all the noise. Imagine setting aside your to-do list, your worries, your opinions. Just for now. Picture them as clouds drifting across the sky. You don't need to hold on to them. You don't need to push them away. Just let them float by. Feel the stillness that remains. That's you. That's the Tao within you. Here's a little secret: when you rediscover that stillness, you reconnect not only with yourself, but with everything. Because the Tao isn't just within you, it's within all of creation. It's the thread that connects every being, every moment, every breath. And when you tap into it, you start to see the world differently. You stop feeling separate, isolated, alone. Instead, you feel part of something infinite, something eternal. Think about the ocean again. On the surface, there are waves, big ones, small ones, crashing, rising, falling. But beneath the surface, there's a vast, calm depth that never changes. That depth is the Tao. The waves are the noise, the busyness, the distractions. But no matter how turbulent the waves get, the depth remains untouched. And the same is true for you. No matter what's happening on the surface of your life, the stillness within you, the Tao, remains constant, unshaken. But how do you access it? How do you let go of the noise and rediscover that stillness? The first step is simple, yet profound. Stop seeking. Stop chasing. Stop trying to find the Tao out there in the world. Instead, turn inward. Give yourself permission to just be. You don't have to meditate for hours or retreat to a mountaintop. Just start with moments of presence, of awareness, moments where you step out of the chaos and into the calm. Here's a powerful practice to try. The next time you're caught up in noise, whether it's external or internal, pause. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, who am I beneath all of this? Don't try to answer the question with words. Just feel into it. Let the stillness within you rise to the surface. The more you practice this, the more you'll realize that the Tao isn't something you have to create or achieve. It's already there, waiting for you to notice it. Let's make this real. Imagine you're stuck in traffic, the noise of honking horns, the frustration of waiting, the thoughts racing through your mind, it's all there. But what if, instead of getting lost in that noise, you turned your attention inward? What if you used that moment to reconnect with the stillness within you? Suddenly, the traffic isn't a source of stress, it's an opportunity to practice presence. That's the power of the Tao. It transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary, the chaotic into the calm. And here's the thing, when you live from that place of stillness, you don't just feel more peaceful, you become more powerful. Not the kind of power that comes from control or force, but the power that comes from alignment, from being so deeply rooted in your true self that nothing can shake you. You stop reacting to life and you start responding to it. You stop clinging and you start flowing. Let go of the need to figure it all out. Let go of the need to be anything other than who you are in this moment. When you do, you'll find that the Tao isn't just within you, it is you. And from that place of stillness, you'll discover a freedom, a joy, a connection that no amount of searching could ever give you. Because you don't need to find the Tao. You just need to remember it. Every thought is a choice. Will you choose harmony or discord? Think about that for a moment. Every single thought that enters your mind has the potential to shape your life. It's like standing at a crossroads over and over again with one path leading to peace and the other to struggle. Now here's the question, which path are you choosing right now? See, most of us live as though our thoughts are out of our control, like they just happen to us. But the truth is, every thought is a choice. Every time you think, I'm not good enough, or life is so unfair, you're choosing a reality of discord, a reality that pulls you out of alignment with the Tao, the way, the natural flow of life. But when you think, I am enough, or life is unfolding perfectly, you align with harmony, with the peaceful, effortless rhythm of the universe. Let me share something powerful with you. Your thoughts are like seeds. Whatever you plant in the fertile soil of your mind will grow. Plant seeds of doubt, fear, and negativity, and you'll harvest a life filled with struggle and discontent. But plant seeds of love, trust, and gratitude, and watch as your life blossoms into something extraordinary. Now, I know this sounds simple, but let me ask you, how often do you stop to actually notice your thoughts? Because that's where the magic begins. Awareness. The moment you become aware of a thought, you reclaim your power to choose. Without awareness, you're just a passenger being driven around by your mind's old habits and patterns. But with awareness, you become the driver. Imagine this, you're sitting on the bank of a peaceful stream, watching leaves float by on the water. Each leaf represents a thought. Some leaves are beautiful, light, and vibrant. They bring you joy and peace. Others are heavy, dark, and jagged. They weigh you down. Now, you can't stop the stream, and you can't stop the leaves from appearing, but you can decide which ones you pick up and hold on to. That's the essence of living with the wisdom of the Tao, allowing thoughts to come and go, choosing to hold on to only those that bring harmony. Here's the thing, stepping into the simplicity of the Tao doesn't mean you never have a negative thought again. It means you stop wrestling with them. You stop giving them your energy. When a thought of anger or worry arises, instead of latching onto it, you let it pass. You let the river carry it away. And in that letting go, you create space for peace, for clarity, for alignment. Let me share a story with you. There was a farmer who lived in a small village. One day, his horse ran away. The neighbors came by and said, "Such bad luck," the farmer simply replied. Maybe the next day, the horse returned, bringing with it 3 wild horses. The neighbors exclaimed, "What great fortune again." The farmer said, "Maybe the day after that, the farmer's son tried to ride one of the wild horses, was thrown off, and broke his leg." The neighbors lamented, "How terrible." The farmer simply said, "Maybe a week later, soldiers came to the village to recruit young men for war. They passed over the farmer's son because of his injury." The neighbors said, "What amazing luck." And once again, the farmer said, "Maybe." Do you see the wisdom here? The farmer didn't resist life. He didn't label events as good or bad. He simply allowed life to flow, trusting that everything was unfolding as it should. This is the simplicity of the Tao. It's about releasing the need to judge, to control, to force. It's about trusting the process, trusting the flow. And this trust, it begins with your thoughts. When you choose thoughts of harmony, you align with the flow of life. You stop fighting the current. You step into a state of ease, of grace. And from this state, your actions become more powerful, more purposeful, because they're not coming from a place of fear or lack. They're coming from a place of connection, of abundance. Now, let's make this practical. The next time you catch yourself thinking, "This isn't fair," or "Why does this always happen to me?" stop. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, is this thought bringing me closer to harmony or pulling me into discord? If it's pulling you into discord, let it go. Replace it with a thought that feels lighter, freer. Maybe it's as simple as, "I trust that this is happening for my highest good," or "I choose to see this differently." Remember, this peace isn't something you find out there. It's something you cultivate in here in your mind, in your heart, in the way you choose to think about the world. When you let peace lead your journey, when you choose harmony over discord, you don't just change your thoughts. You change your life. And that, my friends, is the power of the Tao. Thanks for joining me today. If you found value in this discussion, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more motivational content. Share your thoughts in the comments below.